Welcome to Jags Drive Time with Ashlyn Sullivan, John Oehser, and Brian Sexton. Jags Drive Time starts right now.
Welcome in Jaguars Drive Time Wednesday morning. Ashlyn, Brian, and John here with you, getting ready for a home game this Sunday against the Ravens. We were in the locker room on Monday talking to the guys, refreshed, recharged, making some changes on the bye week, but they all are very aware who is coming to Jacksonville on Sunday, and everyone is talking about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quite the challenge.
That's my hot take. So
there's no hot takes
this
today.
Or that, whatever
Read the
it is.
rundown.
Why would he start now?
Lamar Jackson is the overriding theme, just as Patrick Mahomes is the overriding theme 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So that's our topic this week.
It sure is. Big things. Let's start it. Big thing one is a chance. The locker room is still talking about the playoffs because, of course, they should be. There are 7 weeks remaining. The Jaguars saying if they win those games out, they finish with 10 wins and they make it into the playoffs. Technically, yes, it is still a possibility.
You never really truly get away as a competitor, knowing that you have the remaining stretch of your season, which is going to be significant for us because it's going to we have to win in order to get in the playoffs, and we know that. So nobody really got away from it, and we just ready to get back to it.
Big thing, too, is where does the defense stand? We all know this defense is looking to improve these remaining 7 weeks and limit the big plays we saw the first half of the season, and some changes coming to the defense expecting this week.
A little meeting today after everybody kind of reflected and stuff, that ways we're going to utilize our players and stuff moving forward. So I was excited to hear all the, not really changes in the defense, but just the ways that we feel like we'll be successful moving forward. It's going to take a team effort, obviously, but we feel like we have a good plan for these last 7 games. We'll start with this first game, so it goes.
And finally, big thing 3 is the return of Saxonville Calais Campbell making his return to Jacksonville on Sunday. Everyone looking forward to seeing 93 back in the building.
Yeah, definitely. Me and Josh definitely talked about it. He's definitely one of the most influential guys in both of our careers. You know, he taught me more than anything about how to take care of my body. You know, now into my 6th and 7th year, I'm seeing what he was talking about in my rookie year. We definitely miss him. I mean, it's kind of sad he was let go a couple years ago, but I mean, he's showing that he can still play, and he's now the oldest in the league, and he's still balling. So.
And there you have it. Those are big things getting ready for Sunday's game against the Ravens. And we knew we wanted to talk about Calais Campbell. And in the locker room on Monday, we said, all right, who can we talk to about this? And it's crazy to think how different this team looks since 2017 because there were 4 guys that we could talk about the impact of Calais Campbell. Smoot, of course, Josh Allen, and we had Shatley and Cam Robinson. And that was really it from the 2017 team.
When you talk about the best free agent signings in Jaguars history, you have to talk about Keenan McCardell, obviously, and Leon Searcy, and probably Paul Posluszny, but then Calais. I mean, there are some people that put Calais even higher than that.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure that he's not a pride of the Jaguars guy, and that's insane because he played 3 years. But if you think of the impact, the love in the community, the fact that over the last 10 or 11, 12 years, the year that he came in and a lot of things reshaped the franchise, but he reshaped the franchise that year.
From his first day.
And they got to the AFC Championship game, probably should have made the Super Bowl. The love in the community, I don't know that he'll, it's way above my pay grade to decide who's up there. But, I'm not sure that he's not in the top handful of guys who have ever influenced this team.
I have a list of 10 guys who I think belong in the pride of the Jaguars.
He's not next for me, by the way. Keenan's next.
No. I mean, Keenan and Tom Coughlin have to be the next 2, and Tony Bracken has to be in there before he gets there, and I think Maurice Jones-Drew. But he's there right around 5. I mean, I can list a bunch of guys that belong in there, and he certainly does.
Which is crazy that it was only 3 seasons to make that
But
type of impact.
He had 4.5 sacks in his very first game. He was part of the transformation that year. And the plan, if you go back and talk to Tom Coughlin or Dave Caldwell, would tell you, they thought they'd get 3 years out of that group, and they only got 1 because Leonard got hurt and then Cam Robinson got hurt, and it all sort of fell apart. But, man, that year, they went from 4-12 the year before, 3-13 the year before, to 10-6, an AFC Championship game, and he kind of pulled all the strings together on defense.
When he was great in the opener, that made everybody else believe it was possible.
Yeah, set the tone.
And I mean, I don't think he should be next, but Tony Brackens was a great defensive player.
He's your all-time sack leader.
But when Calais was in his prime here, I think his first 2 years were his prime, he was better than any other 2-year stretch any Jaguars defensive players ever had.
I don't know. I would argue that Brackens was in 98 and 99 was a dominant player, too.
He was almost defensive player of the year.
I know.
Calais.
Let's go back up to big thing one, which is a chance. And, of course, you expect the Jaguars to be saying this and doing the math. If we win this game, if we win the division, we can make it into the playoffs. Of course, you expect that. You want to hear that. The expectations are high right now for these next 7 weeks to sneak into the playoffs. A lot of things would have to go right.
Well, we'll go back 1996. I've talked and written about this a lot. They were 4-7, and they came off a terrible loss in Pittsburgh and cut Andre Rison on Monday, and you thought, well, this thing is done. It's going nowhere. So they go to Baltimore, ironically, to play the Ravens, and they are down late in the ball game by 8 points, and Vinny Testaverde puts the ball on the ground. It bounces right into the hands of Eddie Robinson, the linebacker. The Jaguars score, get the 2-point conversion, and win it in overtime. That started a 7-game winning streak, right? And in that 7-game winning streak, every ball bounced their way. So it wasn't just that they started playing well. They had some great fortune that was created for them as well. Can it happen? Sure. Is it likely? Yeah, no. But you could see a little run here. There's a lot of similarities between that team and this team. And it would be fun. In order for that to happen, you have to win on Sunday.
Yeah. You got to start
Otherwise, at that point, it becomes so remote. But you win on Sunday, you create, and John, you recall this playoff atmosphere where every regular season Sunday became like, hey, if they win this one, and that's what we've been talking about for this team, just be in the conversation. If they win on Sunday, they're just on the cusp of it, right? They're not as entrenched in it as they could be had they won some of those winnable games in October. But they'll be in it, and you'll have people talking, and that's what gets people excited about where it's headed.
I would love for it to happen. The one difference I see with that 96 team, until they got to the playoffs, the schedule really laid out for a run.
Yes.
It
It's
was
Cincinnati and Houston.
Yeah, you had teams that were struggling. This Jaguars team faces a juggernaut down the stretch. So, again, I keep going back to this point. It would not surprise me if there's no game down the stretch that I would walk off the field going, man, I can't believe the Jaguars won that.
Right.
Because they've been in every game. It would surprise me if they won them all because I think all the games will be close. I think they'll be in it. To me, what you watch for in these last 7 games is can they start making the play at the end of the game to get them over the hump, which they haven't been able to do yet. So if they do that 7 times, then sure they can win. I think they'll be in 6 of these games. Can they close the door?
We'll find out. If they could close the door on some of them, especially on Sunday, it'll be fun.
And many guys in the locker room, especially on Monday, were mentioning the division, and that's the pathway. That's the key to getting into this playoff is winning the division. And they said, hey, we're 2 games out. We have 3 divisional matchups left. It's possible, but every single player that I talked to on Monday was laying out these divisional games now. They're already important. They're so much more important.
Man, do they regret the Texans and the Colts.
Gosh, yeah.
Where you
especially
had a
that Texans game at home.
You regret those because you could be 3-0 in the division and in command.
Absolutely. And that is big things when we come back. Much more to come on Jaguars Drive Time on the Jaguars Digital Network.
A Dream Finder's home is an amazing way to celebrate the holidays. Unwrap your family's future in a new St. Johns County community like Shearwater or Beacon Lake as 2022 comes to a close and 2023 awaits. What could be better than an expertly built, energy-efficient, move-in ready Dream Finder's home to enjoy everything that makes the holiday season merry and bright? How about an interest rate lock special from Dream Finders, which will secure your new home at a big savings? It's the holiday gift that keeps on giving. Happy holidays to all from Dream Finders Homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates Frequent Shopper Clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Publix, where shopping is a pleasure, the presenting sponsor of Sunday's game against the Ravens. We're back, Jaguars Drive Time Wednesday morning, getting ready for Sunday's game against the Ravens here at home in Jacksonville. And now we bring in Ravens host Garrett Downing now to Jaguars Drive Time. Thank you for waking up for us this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
For sure. And what can this Jaguars team expect with the Baltimore Ravens coming to town this weekend? What is the state of the Ravens?
Look, this Ravens team is really good. I think there's a lot of confidence with this group about what they can do this season. They're in first place in the AFC North. They're riding a 4-game winning streak. And I think that, again, the sky is the limit for this team. And there's certainly a lot of confidence with this group. You know, this defense is playing really well. They're coming off their best 2-game stretch of the season in New Orleans on Monday Night Football, and then last week at home against Carolina. They made a big trade at the deadline to add linebacker Roquan Smith from the Bears. And he's made an immediate impact with this group. And I think everybody around him is playing better as a result. So this defense is playing lights out. And then, of course, whenever you're playing the Ravens, Lamar Jackson takes center stage, and he's continuing to have a really strong season.
Talk to me about Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen. And Patrick, obviously, for folks who have followed the Ravens a bit at all, is one of those flashing playmakers who's constantly around the ball. How are his and Smith's roles similar or different? What are they asking Roquan Smith to do?
Well, we got our first real taste of it Sunday against Carolina because this was the first time that Roquan Smith was able to go out and play every snap. Against New Orleans, he was sort of just thrown into the fire after the trade right before that game, and he ended up playing about 60% of the snaps. And then against Carolina, he played the full 100% of the snaps, and so did Queen. Both those guys were on the field for every play. And I think what we've seen is that Roquan's ability to basically, both those guys have great sideline-to-sideline speed, so they can fly all over the field. Roquan's ability to kind of step in there in the middle has allowed Queen to really use that speed to his advantage, and he's coming off maybe his best game as a Raven last week. This is a former first-round pick. He's in his third season now. He had 12 tackles, a half sack last week, a tackle for a loss, and he's just been playing with his hair on fire. And when he was coming out, I'm sure a lot of your fans will have watched a lot of SEC football. He was a great player at LSU the year they won the national championship with Joe Burrow. He was the defensive MVP in that national championship game. And everyone knew about his speed. And that's what I think has kind of been unlocked with him in recent games. And you just see him flying all over the field, making plays in the backfield, making plays along the sidelines. And if he continues to play like he did on Sunday, then him and Roquan Smith are probably the best, inside linebacker duo in the NFL.
Hey, Garrett, I think people, if they're not paying close attention, may have missed how good this Ravens team is and how good they could be. Mm-hmm. An amazing stat, they've led by 10 points in every game. So how good does this team think they are? It feels to me like a team that should believe that it can compete to go all the way.
Yeah, I think that is the expectation that they have. They believe that this is a really good team. Now, where that goes, we'll find out. But the hope is that this team can certainly be one of the best in the league. You look at the schedule. Earlier in the season they lost to the Bills, they lost to the Dolphins, and both those games they had big leads in the fourth quarter. Same goes when they played the Giants. Basically, every game that the Ravens lost, all 3 games, they had big leads late in that game, and they just weren't able to put it away. And John Harbaugh kind of said at that point, the beauty of those losses, well, of course you don't want them, but the beauty of it is that you learn and you kind of pay attention to the things that you need to improve. If you win those games, then you can kind of gloss over them and sweep them under the rug and pretend like those deficiencies don't really exist. When you lose, it's not as easy to do that. And so they took a hard look at some things, and they've made improvements in certain areas. But yeah, I mean, the Ravens easily could have won any of those 3 games that they lost, and then you'd be sitting here saying, oh, this team has the best record in the AFC. So I think they're a really good team. But they needed their team. Like last week, it was a close game against Carolina. Offense kind of sputtered out of the gate. So as you guys know, anything can happen on Sunday, and they're certainly taking that mindset over the course of this week.
And finally, Garrett, we were just talking about Calais Campbell at the start of our show, a guy that means a lot to a lot of people here in this building. What have you seen from Calais so late in his career?
Yeah, I'm sure the same thing that all you guys saw when he was in Jacksonville. He's a player who's so well respected. I think a lot of people were worried that he was going to retire this offseason. He flirted with that idea, really considered it, but ultimately made the decision to come back and play. And then once he decided to come back and play, the question was whether he was going to stay here. And the Ravens were able to work out a contract extension with him to keep him here. But yeah, I mean, he's a great guy on and off the field. He's involved in the community. He's a leader in the locker room, and he's playing really good football. This defensive line is I think, kind of quietly been one of the strengths of this team over the course of the year. And obviously Calais Campbell is the leader of that group. So, he's having a terrific season. Ravens have a couple veteran players, Calais being one of them, Justin Houston being another, who are pushing off father time and showing that they can keep playing at a high level in the twilight stages of their career.
Going to be an exciting game on Sunday. Garrett, thank you so much for joining us on Jaguars Drive Time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Coming up on the Jaguars Digital Network, some of This or That. Stay with us.
This holiday season, unwrap a brand new Dreamfinders home. You'll enjoy everything that makes the holidays merry and bright with family and friends in an expertly built, energy-efficient Dreamfinders home. What could be better than calling one of St. Johns County's magnificent communities such as Shearwater, Beacon Lake, or Silverleaf home as 2022 comes to a close and an exciting new year begins. Plus, with an interest rate lock special from Dreamfinders Homes, the timing is perfect to be in a gorgeous move-in ready home. Happy holidays to all from Dreamfinders Homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Jags fans, this is Shaquille Griffin. I'm going to share some of my secrets for competing in the NFL. First, the field is no place for hunger. Growing up, I got big and strong eating boiled peanuts. Today, our team is serious about fueling our bodies, and that means popping open some protein-packed peanuts from Luray's Peanuts. It's the same boiled peanut flavor I used to love eating as a kid, but with superfood nutrition that lets me tear it up on the field, pick Luray's boiled peanuts at all Jaguar home games, or pick up a few bags at the grocery store and fuel up at home.
At Five Star Credit Union, you inspire them to go the extra mile to meet your financial needs. That's why they offer Jaguars fans more banking options like better rates and no hidden fees. Their team is also dedicated to making the communities they serve stronger, volunteering their time and talents while donating millions to local nonprofits. Five Star Credit Union, FiveStarCU.org. Go Jags!
Price.com is the easiest way to save money with comparison shopping, cashback coupons all in one. It's free. Try Price.com today.
This or that. This or that.
We're back, Jaguars Drive Time on Wednesday, which means it is This or That, presented by Price.com. Brian, what do you got?
I'm going with Josh Allen or Devin Lloyd. Who needs to have a breakthrough game? And obviously with Devin Lloyd, if Chad Muma's getting a bunch of snaps, it's a breakthrough position there. Is it Allen to pressure a quarterback who's difficult to pressure because of his mobility? Or is it that linebacker and one of those guys is going to have to know where he's at all times, right? And run to the ball and make plays? Who? I say it's the linebacker, whoever it is, Devin Lloyd or Chad Muma. They've got to make plays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. That's why it's a good this or that, Brian.
Thank you.
Nice.
Because anytime Josh Allen has a breakthrough game, he's having a game of immediacy, I like to call it, because he's breaking through right at the quarterback. So if he breaks through and has 2 sacks and a forced fumble, then all of a sudden whatever anybody else is doing matters a lot less. That's the impact he can make. We saw it against Josh Allen last year of the Bills. So I would still say it's more important for Josh Allen because of the impact of the pass rush on any game. But I get your point. as mobile as Jackson is, it's a tough call. Schlin.
And if you're asking who needs a bigger game right now, I think you have to make the argument it's Josh Allen from anyone on this team right now. Everyone is starting to ask questions about Josh Allen and where are the sacks and where is the production. And we all predict at some point it's going to show up and we're going to see a Bills-like performance from Josh Allen. But I feel like every week we're going to say, all right, this is the week. This is when it's going to happen. And I think for Josh, it's crucial that he needs that breakthrough game at some point.
It'd be good to have on Sunday.
Yeah, it's later in his career for that reason. I mean, Devin Lloyd is getting his snaps reduced. So I think personally Devin Lloyd probably feels like he needs it as well.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of urgency for both these guys this week.
John, what do you got?
Who's the tougher matchup? Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes? And I wouldn't have thrown this out there except they just played Patrick Mahomes. I don't think Lamar Jackson is quite on the level of quarterbacks as Mahomes, maybe Josh Allen, the elite guy. And then as soon as you say that, you stop and think, you're going to be sitting in that press box, son, you're going to be on the sidelines in the brutal cold weather. And you think, when it's 3rd and 8 and you have a 2-point lead late in the game, I don't know that you don't consider Lamar Jackson a lead at that point because he's, so I don't know that there's a good answer to this question.
Well,
Mahomes is more dangerous.
This or that.
John, it's a good this
because
or
he's
that.
the best in the league.
It's a good this
but
or
Lamar
that.
Jackson is that guy. Don't think for a minute that he's not as dangerous in big situations as Patrick Mahomes.
He absolutely is. And the word dangerous leads me to say Jackson because just as soon as you think you've got him bottled up, he's getting 9 yards when he needed 7, and when you had everything covered, and then you have one-on-one where you need a Lloyd or a Muma or a Luakan to be able to get there. And
right.
It's like chasing Kyler Murray. I mean, incredible speed and elusiveness. So I'll say in terms of the word dangerous, it's Jackson.
Yeah.
Well, and then when Jackson gets 7, every couple of games he turns it into 80.
Yeah.
Right.
Which, everybody you talked about Jackson, I mean, you watch him, you feel it. He's the quintessential guy in the NFL right now that you can beat him for 58 minutes and think you got him beat, and then he beats you in minute 59.
Yeah. How would you like to have to go negotiate with him this offseason?
Yeah.
It's
lot of
not
money.
going to be pretty for those folks in Baltimore.
Yeah, and when you think specifically to this Jaguars defense and the struggles they've had against mobile quarterbacks, they
yeah.
go back to that brutal game in Philadelphia that I always talk about.
And the Giants.
against
The
Jalen
Giants are
Hurts.
just as bad.
Right. I think specifically to this Jaguars defense, the bigger challenge is Lamar Jackson because when you think of a mobile running quarterback, you think of Lamar Jackson. You probably think of Patrick Mahomes in the top 3, but Lamar Jackson to me is always number 1 when you think that.
Yes.
He's lightning in a bottle.
Yes, indeed. Going to be a big challenge on Sunday for the Jaguars. And my this or that is talking about that cornerback position of the Jaguars. At this point, I feel like they aren't going to get it right these remaining 7 weeks. Neither of these guys are ideal for the answer long-term for the cornerback position, the starting cornerback across from Tyson Campbell. But for these remaining 7 weeks, what do you guys want to see? Do you want to see Trey Herndon? You know what he is. He's consistent. He's reliable. You understand what Trey Herndon's ceiling is. Or do you want to see the young guy? Do you want to give the reps to Buster Brown and see what he can become?
I want to see Brown. 2 games ago, he played okay in coverage and struggled a bit against the Raiders tackling. And then in Kansas City, he struggled a bit in coverage like a lot of players do against Kansas City, but tackled better. He's all SEC, led the league with interceptions, is a terrific football player. He's just undersized, right? And obviously has a lot to learn. You're looking at needing multiple defensive backs for the way that this game is played these days, and you're going to have to go find them. If you find one on your roster right now, that's one less you have to try to find in the draft next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you're asking me if I had to have just one guy there the rest of the season, I'd probably go with Brown. I think they will continue to do what they've done, which is play them both and play them situationally and give Brown a chance to come on. That's not a knock on Trey Herndon. I like Trey Herndon as a reserve on this team because you feel like it's somebody you can rely on to get you through a game or two. I don't think he's a 17-game guy. So, yes, see Brown for the rest of the season if you had to choose that route.
Mm-hmm. All right, and that is This or That presented by Price.com. When we come back on Jaguars Drive Time, some closing thoughts.
A Dream Finder's home is an amazing way to celebrate the holidays. Unwrap your family's future in a new St. Johns County community like Shearwater or Beacon Lake as 2022 comes to a close and 2023 awaits. What could be better than an expertly built, energy-efficient, move-in ready Dreamfinders home to enjoy everything that makes the holiday season merry and bright? How about an interest rate lock special from Dreamfinders, which will secure your new home at a big savings? It's the holiday gift that keeps on giving. Happy holidays to all from Dreamfinders Homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Crown Royal's That Deserves a Crown program recognizes local heroes for making a positive impact in the community. The Jaguars and Crown Royal are giving back to those who serve this season, celebrating these individuals with the ultimate VIP Jaguars home game experience. Nominate someone who deserves a crown today at jaguars.com/Crown Royal Promotion. Please drink responsibly.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gate's frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
For 9 years, Dreamfinders Homes has been proud to call themselves the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for all available inventory. Hello. Welcome. The Jaguars medical team is a crucial part of the team every season. But yes, I was running out of breath. Oh, what a shocker. I said that wrong. Competitiveness. But the latest episode. Come on, Shlyn. Yes. Yes, Scopy. In my Invisalign. Josh Scobie. He's gonna be so upset I'm screwing up his name. No. Shlyn. Woohoo! I hate you guys. Why do you do this to me?
Why? Because you're leaving us.
I am. This is my last Jaguars Drive Time. I'm sad. I'm excited. I'm scared. Upset. All the emotions. But the show has come such a long way, and I am going to a new opportunity next week. But I wanted to thank everyone who's watched the show. The amount of times that we're in Publix or at a restaurant and people come up and talk about this or that, and the amount of people that watch the show every single day, even with a team a lot of years that has been struggling, has always impressed me, and we've worked so hard on this show. So thank you to everyone who has watched it every single morning. It definitely means a lot when people come up and say they watch this and they care about this show.
Well, it wouldn't be me if I didn't tell a story, but we were starting this show. Joe Fortunato, who's over there, and John and I were talking about what we were going to do with this show, and you showed up as an intern in 2017 right as we were getting started, and we thought, well, let's throw her in and see what she does. And here you are 6 years later. We're proud of you.
Thank you.
You have grown tremendously in front of the camera, behind the camera. All the little things that you do, you will be missed. I just want you to know we are proud of what you've done here.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Well done, and you will be missed.
I will. Thanks,
Nice job.
John.
And I'm not telling them where you're going, but it's cold, and you're gonna.
And I'm going to complain
You're gonna
so
complain.
much.
So good luck to whoever you work with in the future.
They're going to have to deal with a whining Shlyn every single day. That's
We'll
for
miss
sure.
you very much.
Well, thank you guys, and thank you all to have tuned into Jaguars Drive Time. The show lives on. It's going to be great. Brian is going to be hosting, and he's going to do a fabulous job as always. But thank you for tuning in to Jaguars Drive Time on a Wednesday, and they will see you next week.